Well, hello. Welcome to a 60-year celebration of Rubber Soul by the Beatles, as if you didn't know. Yeah, this came out early December 1965, and I'm getting to it late December 2025 because of reasons. But here I am at last, and I am going to be doing a tier ranking of all 14 tracks on the album. Yes, of course, I am using the UK version, not the slightly butchered US version. As far as butchered Beatles albums go, they didn't do too badly with this one, but even still, we're sticking with the original as Beatles intended us to hear it. I'm going to be listening to each song and putting them into my tiers, which I'll explain in a moment. One of the reasons I'm going to be doing a fresh listen is, shockingly, I've discovered, and checking my iTunes, which is one of the reasons I like iTunes, I haven't actually listened to this album in full from start to finish since 2018. I would have guessed maybe 2 years at most, but it's more like 7.5. Shocking, isn't it? So, time to rectify that, and we'll see how we go. Now, my tiers are fairly self explanatory and a bit punny at times because, hey, so we've got at the very top, of course, totally fab-fortastic, which is best of the best, can't do better than that. Then, just a slight step down from that, it's rubber stamped for approval, which means they're pretty damn great. Not quite perfect, but damn close. Now, down from there, we have got Soul Lee Filler, which is probably slightly harsh, but it just means middling album track, decent, not going to change the world, but not bad either. Beneath that, Norwegian Wouldn't. Yeah, told you some of these were punny. Basically, that's pretty bad, but not as bad as very bottom, which is JSB, which happens to be my initials, but you can call me that or Joe, whatever you fancy. It also stands for just so bad. That's the worst of the worst. Not sure that we're going to be using all these categories today, but they're there as options. Anyway, maybe you should change JSB to just stunningly brilliant because that's closer to how I am. Anyway, let's dive in and get started with track one, which, as you see and as you probably already know, is Drive My Car. Oh, one thing to mention, the music won't be in the main YouTube video, but if you do want to hear all these songs with me and see if you can catch me singing along at points, I'll try not to, but no promises. There'll be a link to that full video with all the music contained within. Hopefully I'll be able to at least top and tail the songs so that you can hear the intro and the ending as we go through, just to give you a bit of context, but sometimes those might be missing as well from some main vid. But I'm guessing you know these songs? Maybe? Anyway, let's see what I think. And of course, along the way, I want to be hearing what you think, because we'll agree at times, I'm sure, but there might be times that we don't, and that's fine. Let me know either way how you rank these songs compared to how I do as we go. So, as I say, it's time to drive my car. Beep, 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 yeah. Right. Opening with Drive My Car, and what a fun little song that is. Nice little story to it. Some people aren't so hot on this one, but I've always liked it, and it's maybe not Paul's best lead vocal, but it's decent. Ringo's doing some great work on it, and the harmonies are good. Nice little solo from George. Tasty stuff. Now, as an opener, it not only opens this album, it opened the third gig I ever saw in my life, which was Sir Paul McCartney in 1993 when I was just a wee lad of 12. So I've got kind of a certain nostalgia for this one as well. And, with the big beeps on the big screens, they would have those flashing up all across. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah. It's just fun. Maybe I reckon it higher than some would as a result of that, but hey, I'm allowed to. So where is it going, you wonder? Well, not quite to the top, but it is rubber stamped for approval. It's damn good, but there is better to be found on this album. And just quietly, we might be heading to one of those tunes right about now. We have, of course, got Norwegian Wood. All right, Norwegian Wood. It's only 2 minutes long, really, and it's what I would label a 2 minute masterpiece from John. Nothing about the song is anything other than bloomin' perfect. From the great little playful lyric, which I kind of read as being almost like a confession in a detective's interview or something along those lines. When you get to the twist at the end with lighting the fire and quite what that meant. Um, yeah. Oh, I love it. And obviously, instrumentally, you've got George on. Well, I can never pronounce the sitar. I'm going to say sitar today. Other days I'd probably say it differently. Um, yeah, I've got nothing more to say than that is going straight in, totally fab-tastic. Can't do better than that. But you can do other songs that are as good, nearly as good. Well, let's find out with the next one, which is, of course, going to be You Won't See Me. Here we go.
When I
All right, You Won't See Me. One of the things that I'm pleased happened in the 60s is Paul had that relationship with Jane Asher, which, didn't go well a lot of the time and it resulted in great songs like this. So, yay for Relationship Misery, because that is another great song. Um, Much better vocal from Paul on that one than we had on Drive My Car, and some nice harmony backings as well. More great work from Ringo. Um, but yeah, it's just another great song. And yeah, it's joining Norwegian Wood up in totally fab-tastic. There it is. So we're off to a cracking start. And where can we go from here? But nowhere, man. Yeah, it's Nowhere, Man. It's a song. You might have heard of it. We're going to hear it now, if you're watching on the full version, at least. Here we go.
he's a real nowhere
Give
man
me miming for you.
sitting in.
Hmm. Yeah, well, that's a good one, isn't it? Nowhere Man. Another great John song, of course, and same with You Won't See Me. Some gorgeous harmonies from the lads on this one, especially that final line when they up the ante on making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Except that there's more of them and they sound better than that. But you know what I mean. Um, yeah. So, where do you think that one's going? Oh gosh, I think you probably guessed it. It's going to totally fab-tastic. Aren't they doing well? Hmm. Well, again, let me know. Is this opening as strong as I think it is, or is there better yet to come? Am I being over generous with these? I'm not, but you might think so. So, speaking of thinking, I do want you to think for yourself and tell me what you think of these songs, especially this next one, which is oh yeah, it's Think for Yourself. George's turn to shine, or will he?
I've got
Yeah. All right. George enters the scene with Think for Yourself and does a damn fine job on it. Lovely fuzzy guitar there and broken record, but more great harmonies from the lads on this. This is really them at Harmony Central. Um, I guess they were getting on very well at this point in time still, and it's reflected in the sound vocally, I think. Speaking of think, where do I think this one's going? Well, it's damn good. I don't think it's quite as strong as the three previous songs that we've heard, though. So, therefore, it's only, I say only like this is a bad category. It's rubber stamped for approval, which means it's still pretty damn fantastic. So, nice work from George. And yeah, we move on yet again. Aren't these songs nice and short, by the way? You Won't See Me is the only one over 3 minutes on this album. Um, but we're heading to what I fear, or what I certainly think of as the mid-album dip in this album. Again, you might disagree, but let's see what I think. Giving myself a fresh listen to The Word. All right, The Word, my word. It is a bit of a step down from what we've heard so far, isn't it? Or is it? Um, just not as melodically appealing as most Beatles tunes. I find all the times that they sing "The Word" quite grating, and it's a lot. Also, even I've been praising the harmonies throughout, but I don't particularly care for them on this one, especially the high harmony. It gets, yeah, a little bit nails on um, blackboards sort of thing, as if you're old enough to know what that sounds like. Anyway, it's not terrible though. There's bits I like. I like the breakdown that goes ding, 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 and Ringo's on form again. But yeah, overall, not a favourite, but it's all right. So it's solely filler for me. Um, and that's taking us to close of side one for those who remember records or vinyls as the kids call them these days. Ugh. It's Michelle. So let's get some French action on, shall we? Or should I say, Michelle we? Yeah, I'll just play the song now, shall I? Good call. Yeah, interesting way to close side one. It's a bit more stripped back and acousticy. And I'm pretty keen on it, to be fair. Some people are not wild about the song, and I'm not entirely sure what they've got against it, but I like it. The worst thing I can say about it is that it's encouraged other non-French speakers to incorporate some French into songs at times where they really shouldn't have. And yes, Mr. Billy Joel, I'm looking at you. But yeah, we can't blame Paul for that. And another gorgeous melodic tune. So again, not quite top tier amazing, but pretty darn good. So it's rubber stamp for approval by me today. So we're halfway through, and we're going to kick off in the traditional sense, side two. Uh, what goes on there, I wonder? Yeah, I'm making a lot of bad jokes today. If you're new here, don't worry, that is completely normal. Sorry. Alrighty, let's see what we can do with our Ringo on. Okay, let's go. Okay, what goes on? Well, Ringo goes on. Um, Funny because was it 6 months ago? Me and Sean looked at Help, and we narrowly avoided hearing Act Naturally, which opened side two of that album. So it's interesting that this album also has a side two opening with a countrified Ringo tune. But whereas Act Naturally is obviously a cover, and I can't stand it, this one, well, spoiler alert, it is my least favourite song on the album. But it's not bad. I think it really suits Ringo's vocal style. Again, the harmonies are a little bit off on this one. I prefer it just to be a straight Ringo vocal, which is unusual for me. Um, but yeah, it's all right. I am vaguely tempted to put it into the Norwegian Wouldn't category just for the sake of using that category, but I really can't be that harsh to it. So it's up and solely filler. Again, I wouldn't have opened a side with it. In fact, for someone who was super keen on sequencing, one of the things about this album is I think the sequencing's all over the place. I haven't worked out how I'd have done it differently, but I definitely would have. Um, anyway, that leaves us with six more songs to sort. And we're moving next to one of those great one word song title songs. We've got a couple of those coming up. But this one is Girl. Not sure if you heard that. Did you hear the my microphone's not as good as theirs. Anyway, we'll hear them do it.
Is there anybody going to listen to my story?
All right, Girl. Another great John song. Um, Love the backing vocals on that with all the tits. Got to get your tits out, lads. There you go. Tit, 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 tit. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, great vocal from John. Some nice acoustic work on that as well. And speaking of John, uh, it's going to be the first song of his that doesn't quite get up to the top tier, but it is again going to be sat in uh, rubber stamp for approval, right next to Michelle. Two girls together. Um, all right. Uh, Next up, what are we looking at? I'm looking through you. Hmm. All right, I'm looking through you. It's, I've not actually got an awful lot to say about this one, but it's another damn fine tune. And it's going straight up to rubber stamp for approval. Yeah, another good effort from Paul there. And yeah, that's it. I will probably have more to say on the next song because, well, I'll play it first and then I'll talk about it because it's time to get to In My Life. So here we go. Okay, In My Life. Well, one of the reasons I like doing these tier rankings is because you don't have to actually decide the placing for everything. They can be grouped together. But this is, I don't know about far and away, but it is still easily my favourite song from this album and one of my favourite Beatles songs ever. Certainly my favourite John song ever. Um, so you can probably guess where I'm going to put it, but it's also the song on this album that I heard most recently, and that was sadly at my other half's uncle's funeral earlier this month, who was a big Beatles fan, and they played that when they were displaying all the photo montages and things on the screens during the service where we paused for reflection. And if that wasn't emotional enough, the date of the funeral was the 8th of December. Um, yeah, I don't have to tell any Beatles fans the significance of what was going through my mind during that. So, that aside, perfect song, love it to bits. Always makes me think of uh, certain people who I do love more than other certain people. You know who you are. Um, and maybe it needs a category of its own, but it can't go any higher than the highest that I've got, which is totally fab for tastic. Yeah. And yeah, we'll move on. I bet you can't wait. Yep, the puns are back. Sorry. They never stay away for too long. Sorry, did I just spit at you? Didn't mean to do that. Anyhow, let's have another great song. Spoiler alert.
It's been a long time. Now I'm coming.
All right, wait. Um, now, at this point in time, you can pretty much tell who wrote what because they generally sing it. But some people have pointed to this as being the only real Paul and John collaboration on this album. But both Paul and John agreed over the years that it's really Paul's song, despite John singing it. And what a great job he does. Also, the percussion of the tambourine, and Ringo is on fire here. His drum fills are fantastic. Great harmonies again. I love me a minor key melody. All I'm saying is, I love the song to bits, and it's while In My Life is the better song and is my favourite song, somehow this one has managed to be my most played song from this album. Not really just, but it is, and I think it's a tad underrated. So while on all levels it's not In My Life, it's still fan fucking tastic. So it's going up to the very top, totally fab-tastic, and you can disagree all you want. Hopefully you don't want to, but you can. That's my point. All right, okay, two songs left. And the next one is interesting because I knew another version for many, many, many years before I finally heard this one. So, how will that affect what I make of if I needed someone? Well, let's find out. All right. If I needed someone. So, as I alluded to, you probably guessed it was the Hollies version that I knew first because one of the first, probably three, certainly three or four albums that I ever owned, as in was given to me, was Holly's Greatest Volume 2, which featured their version of the song. So I had that from, I'm going to say 5 years old, roughly. So that's a long time. Um, and partly because of that familiarity, I kind of prefer the Hollies version, even though it's not one of my favourite Holly songs either. But also just the history of them recording it and a bit of a what's the phrase? media meltdown about a Hollies versus Beatles battle. George didn't like their version. John didn't like their version, supposedly, even though I gather it was George Martin who suggested that they record it in the first place. The first time anybody had had a top 20 single written by George Harrison, you would have thought that he would have been grateful for that, but not so much. Anyway, that all puts a slight dampener on this tune for me, even if it shouldn't. So while it's undoubtedly better than the other two songs that I have in this category, for me, I'm going to rate it as solely filler. It's still a good song. Um, it's not as good as George's other contribution to this album, I don't think, and it's just not quite as good as almost everything else here. But yeah, it is better than The Word and What Goes On, in my opinion. And that just leaves us with one more song, slightly controversial ending to this album. And again, I'll have some thoughts on that for you in a moment or two, or well, a minute or two literally, because we've got 2 minutes and 19 seconds of Run for Your Life. Right, there we go. Run for Your Life. And again, sequencing wise, I'm not sure I would have entered the album that way, but the controversy. So let's get this out of the way. Yeah, there's a bit of a threat of killing somebody in a song. Whoop-de-doo. Of course, that line that gets all the umbrage is not John's at all. He nicked it. And that's one of the reasons he didn't like the song, because he just threw it together. They had more time for this album, but they were still under pressure to get everything done in time. And there's a couple of things that were just thrown in to complete the track listing, and this is one of them. But I love his vocal on this. I love the harmonies. I love the melody, and the percussion as well. It's great. And it's really not that far removed from "I'm gonna let you down and leave you flat" on "You Can't Do That" from A Hard Day's Night. It's a similar sentiment. It's just a guy being jealous, and we know John was, and we know he's not the only one. There's far worse songs where people are actually killed in the narrative of a song that people somehow give a pass. So I don't really know what all the fuss is about, to be honest. Anyway, I like it. So there. Do I love it enough to put it up the top? No, I'm not quite that mad, but I do find it's going to slot right in to rubber stamp for approval by me. And as you've been free to do this whole time, you can agree or disagree as you wish. That's what comment sections are for those of you watching on a device where you can actually comment. I know a lot of you don't really do that anymore, so comment sections can be quite barren at times these days. But if you are down there, I do appreciate it. I'm going to take these off now because I've not got any more songs to hear. All right, well, there's John. Sorry, I've been blocking him for most of this recording, but he is still there. And now I'm blocking George. Sorry, George. There we are. That's how my ranking has ended up. And it pretty much says what I thought it would, that this is a super strong album. It's neither quite my favourite Beatles album, nor quite their best, but it's damn close on both fronts. And I mean, if you've got 11 out of 14 songs in those top two categories, then that is fire, really. So, yeah, the fact that they would, well, I say fact, the strongly held and quite common opinion that they did even better after this speaks volumes for just how brilliant they were. But as I say, let me know all your thoughts on this album in general, my ranking in particular, and anything else you feel like saying, really. So I hope you have enjoyed. If so, I've got a whole Beatles playlist of other things that you might want to check out, both Beatles as a group and some of their solo endeavours are in there. So have a look at that and hit that kitty purple logo to subscribe to the channel. And I will simply say thanks for watching and bye for now, but I hope not for long.
It's the end, but the moment has been prepared for.